Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. Today, I'm joined by three fine gentlemen in Nairobi, Kenya, and they are with Oasis Africa Australia. And I'm going to get them to introduce themselves and give us a bit of a heads up about this not-for-profit organisation, which has been running since 2004. Ross Howe in the middle from Brisbane in Australia. Ross, you're one of the founders and directors of Oasis Africa Australia. 30 seconds, give us a pocket full of just exactly what Oasis Africa Australia is all about.
Oasis Africa is really, it's to break the poverty cycle of inspiring kids who live in Kibera, who have the potential for greatness, but don't have the funds to be able to get that gap. And Oasis provides that gap by selecting individuals. Usually we get 5 females and 5 males every year to have a full scholarship paid to go to high school, then to university, and then we're building to alumni to be able to make sure we've got employment at the end of the journey.
Awesome. And you're there with your wife, Karen, who's also a founder of the business. It's a non-for-profit, totally non-for-profit out of Australia, been operating in Kenya. Full disclosure, I'm also one of the founders and directors. Always a pleasure to talk. I should be there, but I'm not. I'm in Dubai today. It's great to see you folks, and I know you've had a big team meeting of a lot of the young ladies and men who are in the project and at university level. 8,000 kids educated since 2004. And a big part of that success has been for the three of you on the screen today. Jeff, you are the on-site manager for us in Nairobi. Give us a little bit of a heads up about yourself, please.
So my name is Jeff Okoth. I'm the in-country manager for Oasis. I've been with Oasis since 2013. And so far, I have seen the impact that the organization has had in the number of students that we've been able to assist to go through primary school, high school, and now the university level. And I'm happy to see the positive impact that Oasis Africa Australia is having on the young men and women that we are educating and empowering through education.
Thanks, Jeff. And we can never say enough about the fantastic contribution that you make, and you've altered and impacted positively so many lives of the kids, and mainly Kibera's slum, where we started, one of the biggest slums in the world, about 1 million people in 4 square miles in Nairobi there. And of course, on your left and my right is one of our stars, one of our academic geniuses, right from the word go, from a very, very young age. And you're with us, George. Of course, I've met you many times in Kenya. George, tell us a little bit about your journey through the Oasis Africa program. When did it start? What year?
All right. My name is George Wandalo, a beneficiary of Oasis Africa. I can say my journey has been a long journey and a positive one. If I can remember back then when I met Jeff, I was just a tiny young boy. And as I sit here today, I can say that the impact of that Oasis Africa gave to different students, me inclusive, is very positive. And as I sit here today, a graduate, it means a lot. It means that we that have been given this opportunity are not taking it for granted. Yeah, so personally I can say Oasis Africa is making a tremendous impact to lives of people in Kibera. And I can just say on behalf of the rest, we are very appreciative and
Yeah, thanks, George. And of course, I had the great pleasure of catching up with you and about 30 of the young men and women from that started with us when they were 5, 6, 7 years of age, about 2004. So that was a really incredible trip last year. So, Ross, tell us a little bit about, I know you've got some key sponsors with you. You've got a lot of the university students. Of course, we've educated kids all the way from primary school to secondary school, up into university now. And like you, George, a lot of folks graduating, which is awesome to see. What are you doing there at the moment, Ross? I think you've been on the ground for about 3-4 days now.
Yeah, no, we've been usually what we've always wanted to do is come back to Kenya, to Nairobi, to every year, to be able to try to help out. Unfortunately, there's something called the coronavirus, which actually did impact that for quite a few times. So it's the first time we've been back on the ground since 2020, when we were last here. We really come down here because I think the most important thing, if you've got scholarships in place, is to build the trust. They want to be able to know that we believe in the work that they're doing. We believe in the students. We believe that, the impact they're making. But we also want to be part of their journey. We don't want to be able to just at a distance be able to say you're doing a good job. We want to go and meet them. And so at the same time, we also want to make sure that our donors and the people who give their generous money, that they can also experience the work that we're doing. So we have a group of 5 people from Oni Group, who've been here for the last couple of days, and they're interacting with the kids. So last night we introduced them to a lot of the people at university who have got scholarships with Oasis, but also a lot of people who finished university and the impact that they're having and what they're doing. So it's a chance to be able to learn the impact of what Oasis is doing, but also more importantly, to be able to engage with kids, to get to know them personally and to get to understand their stories and the impact of their stories. So it's Karen and I, my wife, love it. We get on the ground and we get excited from the time we get off the plane to the time we get back on, because it's the work that Jeff is doing and keep on catching up with George. It's beyond inspirational what these kids have had to grow up in and how impacted they are now to actually make a significant difference, not only in their lives, but their family and their village's life. And so it's we love it. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I know. And I've been fortunate to be there with you folks and you both and your kids as well. You bring them from Australia as well. So the energy is just infectious. I want to go back to you, Jeff. Give us a little bit of a sense of a heads up of what your responsibilities are. And I know you have a woman there that works with you specifically taking care of the welfare of the girls and the young ladies in the program as well. And again, we're non-religious. We're open to all comers in the program itself, right from the word go back in 2004. So from your perspective, what's your main tasking and what are your responsibilities with us, Jeff?
So to start with, from where the scholarship starts, so we have the selection process, which is very vigorous. So you have to apply, you will be vetted before you end up getting the scholarship. Then once you get the scholarship, we have to make sure that you get everything that you need for you to join the high school that you have been called to. Most of the kids that we sponsor are being called to very prestigious high schools in Kenya. And during the school breaks, we will organize mentorship workshops for the students. I'll be one of the speakers in most of the workshops. And we have started to also mentor our graduates who are our alumni to be coming to speak to the students who are still in high school and those who are just joining high school. So apart from that, I have Noel, who is the child protection officer, who helps to take care of all the kids who are under our program.
Met Noel last year and we were very fortunate to be down there with folks from Maersk up here in Dubai, Chris Cook and his team, who were able to donate a whole stack, about 100 laptops to go down there, which was absolutely awesome. I was there with the co-director, Daryl Judd, down there as well from Maersk, and came down there with us. There was a big team, and we met Noel, and she was explaining to us on camera what she was doing specifically about the welfare of the girls, which is a fantastic job. We also had Astral Aviation, Sanjeev Gadia, who's an absolute legend in the Kenyan economic circles, largest airline air cargo operation in Africa. So we have 15 jets down there operating out of Nairobi Airport. So he was there helping us transport and supporting us through various economic measures last year as well. I want to throw to you again, George. George, you've been with us right from the word go. I think you were about knee-high to a grasshopper when I first met you. And we've been bumping into each other every time I certainly get down into Kenya, which is reasonably regularly. And the last year you were there, and you're explaining how you're a humble kid, and now you're a humble man, and you also do a lot of mentoring as well. You seem to be a bit of a ringleader. Tell us about how you see your role with the rest of the students.
I think personally, the way I've been transitioned from when I joined Oasis Africa, I became someone who is driven positively. So I think with that and the positive that and the work that I put up in my studies is something that the students that are behind me are looking up to, and I think that's one of the reasons that keeps us going as Oasis family.
I'll probably add a bit in here, Kim, actually, because the man is way too humble, and I need to add a bit.
He is indeed.
And I think George, basically, when we've had conversations in the past, and so George, from a humble background, started at a very prestigious high school, and by the end time he finished in Form 4, was the school captain of the whole high school, and so he was able to make the decisions and leadership of every student at that high school. Now, we just had a session before talking about peer pressure, and George stood up and let people know, says, look, the reason why peer pressure exists is people want to drag you down to their level. And as leaders, and if you come from Kibera and you're part of a scholarship, you never get dragged down to their lever. You stand up and you be the best you possibly can every time. And remind yourself, as a scholar of Oasis Africa, your duty is to make sure you lead, and you lead from the front. And the reason why we bring George back is that as a leader, he not only can actually back that up by being the school captain, he can back that up by being able to address any concerns of peer pressure or influences on drugs or influences on inappropriate behaviour, so that our scholars rise to the top and be leaders in their own communities. So he's critical in that space, and he's a true inspiration for me. So I listen to his sessions just as I would to any great leader. He's amazing.
I usually tell George and the rest of our students that whatever they do with their lives, they have to first of all know that they are ambassadors of Oasis Africa Australia. And being ambassadors of Oasis Africa Australia, people out there need to look up to them in everything that they do, so that they can see the positive impact that they got from the Oasis Africa Australia scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question about it. And I do know your early background, George, and it was more than a tough upbringing. But perhaps we do an interview on that on another day. But it was a really difficult upbringing, young man. So we're all very, very proud of you, and keep up the good work. Ross, you're down there for another few days. As you say, we're the only group who've been with us for well over 10 years, maybe 12 years. They're one of the top Google distribution companies, partners globally. Delighted to meet up with them in London last year with their team up there. We met them down in Australia as well, from the early days with the leader Ari, who's part of the team right from the word go. Now in London, of course, as well, with Salesforce, the EMEA manager for Salesforce. So we put a shout out to her. The Only Group team have been helping to run workshops. Tell us a little bit about that, Jeff. Perhaps just a couple of words about what Only Group are doing there.
I would say this is a great opportunity for our students, because we rarely would get visitors from outside Kenya to come and run a workshop for us. For our students to be able to get an opportunity to run a workshop and to learn from guys who are working from an international company that is based all over the world, it's also a really great inspiration for them, because they have met the Only Group before, but it's via Zoom. but now the physical meeting really it gives it a different feeling. Yeah. So I want to say that it's really exciting. From yesterday's conversation to today's workshop, there was even a moment that one of the employees was really emotional, and it really showed like they are seeing the impact that they are doing as an organization to be able to sponsor kids in Kibera to get access to education.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And now they have an opportunity. We have over 30 students that we are meeting with today and tomorrow for the workshops. And I know by the time they get back to their different offices, they will have different stories to tell, not only their friends, but also their families of what Oasis Africa Australia is doing in Kibera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And so, Ross, I think we've got part of the program. We've got kids in from all around. We place them all around on scholarships with all expenses paid for the high schools and universities right around Kenya, not just in Nairobi. And I understand you had about 20 or 30 of them all in town last night at a meal together. That must have been pretty exciting.
I think it's more. We've been away since 2020, and the chance, and a lot of these kids' journeys we haven't been able to follow in person. So the opportunity I think it's just almost that to get together and have a meal together. You know, anyone knows the impact of that, but to be able to have that now after so many times, and the inspiration of the kids. Karen and I couldn't sleep last night because we're just talking about the great experiences that they've had. So we're keen now to really invest further into these kids. You know, because it's one of those things is that, you know, once kids go through high school and university, you know, our journey with Oasis is not over. You know, because the reality is that they still need to take that one next step. You know, that step of being able to get a full-time job, the step of being able to not only support themselves, but to support their whole family. You know, we had Victor last night talk about that since he's had his job, he's been able to move out of Kibera, not only for himself and where he's got a new home, he's been able to set up a new home for his family. And that's the impact that we want to have. But we don't want that to happen with just one child. We want that to happen with, you know, dozens of children. And again, as we keep on growing, we know that dozens is going to grow to 100, that 100 is going to grow to 1,000. Because the reality is that we've found the solution. The solution is not only to give them the means, but to be able to build up their characters, to be able to make sure that there's no barriers in front of them to be truly successful. You know, all their life they've faced barriers, but now with the Oasis, you know, program, they know that the barriers are only for short-term periods before they can break through for great. The last night was just incredible. It was such an opportunity. There was many tears shared. Yeah, I'm sure. Hugs given, and there was and at the end of it, people are all saying that this is a family, and through family we help each other out to be able to make sure that at the end of it, as a family, we move forward.
Well, we're going to run a bunch of interviews over the next few days and get those up on our LinkedIn. We'll talk that in a minute. I just want to make it clear that, Ross, you're a businessman from Brisbane. This is purely voluntary from your perspective. So you have a day job and a life outside of this, and we really do appreciate it. I appreciate all your assistance made over the last 20 years. It's been incredible. Jeff, you're a legend, and I know you've got an extremely big reputation in the community, not only with Oasis Africa, but right around the Kibera slum area, which is one of the biggest slums in the world, as I said. And yourself, your wife, your kids, and the commitment that you make to the humanitarian cause is incredible. George, you're a shining star, my son. We really appreciate your mentorship and your leadership of the other kids. We're going to do more interviews with you over the next week or so as well. Guys, Ross, where can people go to see? Because most of what we're doing, other than a few corporate sponsors, is all through sponsors through individuals, and they get fully tax deductible in most countries to make donations to oasisafrica.com.au. Is that the email address, the website address? Oasisafrica.com.au, and see us on LinkedIn, Oasis Africa Australia. Want to thank you, Jeff, George, Ross. Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time. I'm going to talk to you again in the next few days.
No, fantastic. Thanks, Kim.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the time.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.